Remember when I had to help you pull out that bed out that dumpster when you first moved here? That pissy bed, bro.
Well, I want to go back to that house. I think it's important because that house has been a big part of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're laughing now, but those were tough times.
Yeah. Good times, though.
It was good times. I'm Skyler Talbott, down here with one of my oldest friends, my brother Cool Breeze. We're at Terrell Brandon's Barbershop. Cool Breeze, man, what happened? What happened?
I don't know what happened, man. I came back, too, and I seen it was closed down.
Yeah, this is, for those of you who don't know, this has obviously been a staple in the community for 25 years. I've been coming here since I was 11 years old.
Me, too.
And, man, there's an article on ESPN in 2022 talking about, again, the barbershop and how it was thriving. And here we are in 2023, graffiti everywhere, the windows boarded up. It's different. It's sad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea? I haven't seen anything online. Do you know what's happened?
No, I don't. I just came by and I seen it was closed down, too, you know?
Yeah, it's sad, man. So Cool Breeze, obviously, I wanted to bring you on. I'm returning back to the community after about 12 years living away in various cities all over the country. And, I've come back to a totally different city.
Right.
Right? And I'd love to get your perspective. Obviously, you grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
Love to get your perspective on when we first met and what type of shape the city was in then. And then we'll talk a little bit about now. But from your point of view, where were we at in our lives and where was Portland at?
Well, when we first met, we met at PCC College. You know what I'm saying? I think I had just turned 18. And, back then, it was a lot different. You know, the town was... It was booming. It was open. You know, it was a lot different back then.
Vibrant, right?
Yeah, it was vibrant. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was a nightlife. You know, you can go out and do stuff, go out and drink. You know, you can go out. You know, and it just changed a lot.
Yeah.
From back then.
Well, I'll tell you, man, you've been one of my oldest friends, and really appreciate your friendship over the years. I think back to that time period. I'll tell you, my first memory of you is walking into the gym over at Portland Community College, and there's Cool Breeze. That's actually when the day you got your name.
Right.
There was Cool Breeze in there. He had his fresh jeans on, crisp, creased, your new Jordans with the tag still coming off of them, the hat on, your Phillies hat you always had. And I'll never forget that teacher getting on your ass and saying, "What the fuck, Cool Breeze?"
Right.
And next thing you know, that's really where our friendship was born. And, again, for me, it's something that I've really appreciated and cherished over the years. I think we have a lot of great memories together. So, Cool Breeze, obviously me making the move back, today we got the opportunity to really spend some time together and go to some of the locations that we used to hang out at. I want to start with downtown, right? Crazy. Tell me about that experience today.
When we went downtown, yeah, it was bad. We seen a whole bunch of junkies downtown. They took over downtown.
Right. Why? And from your perspective, why?
Because it's just Portland. The way Portland is, they decriminalize drugs, so it's just, you can just come here and do drugs and not get in trouble. Police don't bother you. They give you supplies for your drugs. You know what I'm saying? It's like
crazy.
It's crazy.
You know what stuck out to me is, when we stopped, and by the way, it was awesome being able to give out socks and whatnot. I mean, I'm a big believer that, these issues aren't going to get solved on the ground floor. These are going to get solved at a much higher level.
Right.
And so it's important to me to show kindness, obviously, when we're out in the community. But what stuck out to me was that interaction with those, I think there was like 4 or 5 people sitting in that stairway.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Let's tell the viewers about that discussion.
Well, all the bums, they wasn't from here, right? They wasn't from here. They were all from out of town. What else?
Yeah, where were they from? We had Alabama.
L.A.
Texas.
And Texas, and I think L.A. or something like that.
And they came here because, again, exactly what you said earlier, right?
They came here because they can do drugs for free. That's literally what they said.
And not worry about being in jail.
And not worry about being in jail.
that stuff's all over our community. I mean, I think about Nordstrom Rack, where I had my first interview, where I had the opportunity to go buy my interview clothes for that job you got me.
Right.
I was down there and saw the windows all boarded up. And I asked him, I said, is this from the riots? Right? Is this from the riots? Thinking it had to be from a few years ago. And he said, no, the zombies come out at night. Right? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, everybody's smoking fentanyl down here. And they've stolen the Nike bikes, the city scooters, and they drove them right through the windows the night before. I couldn't believe it. And I said, what, to steal stuff? And he said, no, they don't know what they're doing. They're going crazy down here. And
high on drugs.
It's, man, it's sad. I mean, I think that's the easiest way to put it. Then we had the opportunity, man. It was pretty cool to go back and there were parts of it that were cool, getting to be with you back in our old stomping grounds in the Lloyd Center. But talk to me about that. I mean, obviously, that's a totally different space. We used to hang out there.
Right, yeah. Lloyd Center used to be a place you go and hang out, right? But now it's a ghost town. Ain't no stores, like 1, 2, 3 stores in there.
3 stores. Remember Johnny?
Johnny the Jeweler. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I used to work there. Man.
But you go there today, I mean, we were walking around, and I mean, it's even Sears, right? I mean, I know Sears have closed down all over the country, but there were literally, I mean, you'd pass by 6, 7, 8 stores before you'd get to an actual
store,
retail location that's open for business.
Right.
Why?
I don't know, Lloyd. I don't know.
It's just, it's safety. It's, I think about Nike Outlet. Right. I have memories shopping there since I was 7, 8 years old.
Right.
And, this is Nike's backyard.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We're here in Oregon.
Right. How this closed down.
And it closed down. And did you hear why?
No, I didn't hear why that either.
That's when I actually did read an article on that just said the thefts. Right. Like the thefts have been so out of control.
Yeah, that's believable.
And with the policies that are in place, they're not even arresting people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the police are in a totally different space than where they were at when we were growing up.
Right.
I mean, from your perspective, where are they at today?
Police don't arrest nobody no more.
And they've defunded them.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I hear.
They don't, the police is not, they're not doing nothing.
One of the things that, I heard is that really they've been demoralized, right? Through the riots and everything that's happened in our community. Number one, they can't hire. They're having a hard time getting people who want to be police officers.
Right.
They're not even showing up when the calls come in anymore.
Right.
Right? Like, people are really out here fending for themselves. I can tell you, it's the first time in my life I've been in Portland that, I've had to be careful, or I've had to check myself and make sure I was prepared for walking outside every day. Totally different than when we were growing up, and this was the fastest growing city in America.
Right.
Right? Today, it's the most exited city in America, from what I understand, and that's just insane.
Right.
Colbert, just kind of to take it back, one of the aspects of our relationship, I don't know that I've ever had the opportunity to really thank you for, is, I don't know if you even realize it, but you were the one that got me my first job here at Sears, right? And I think about my career and what I've been able to do over the last 15 years. It started with Sears, and I got the opportunity to meet a general manager that gave me my first break in terms of a real job in the corporate world, and that changed my life. And I just wanted to make sure that while I had you, I took the opportunity to say thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. You're welcome.
Those were some of the best memories of my life. I think back to the 2008 election, right? We're working in Sears. Tell me about that time period for you and where we were at in our lives and what impact that made on you.
The 2008 election?
Yeah. I mean, do you remember the day that they announced it in November?
I do.
Talk to us about that day.
Because I was excited, because I had just turned 18. I just voted, you know what I'm saying? So I was excited to see the black president come in, So
do you remember what song we were playing? We were driving around in the...
I think we were playing, if I'm not mistaken, My President is Black by Young Jeezy.
Yeah. And I can tell you, for me, man, having been so positively impacted by the African-American community at many points throughout my life, to me, like, it was just such a joy to get to experience that with you.
Right.
And I'll never forget driving around in the BMW and bumping that song. And, it's just a lot of different times. I mean, the city was on fire that day.
Man, it was on fire. It
Incredible.
was.
Yeah, and one other thing, Cool Breeze, I'll tell you, just to kind of put our friendship, out there. I think, one of the key moments for me when I think about my life and again, where I was at then and what I've been able to do and where I'm at today, I think back to when I first got that BMW. I was working at Sears. I'd saved up. I took everything I had, and I went and got that black BMW.
I remember.
I know. And I remember pulling up to the Sears, and you ran out, and I was so excited to show you. And, dude, that moment for me, you were more happy about the car than I was. And, like, when I think about my friendships,
right.
I've stayed connected to you all these years, almost 20 years. Because I saw your response to that moment. You were so happy for me. And you don't get friends like that. And that's something that I really, really appreciated.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, we know we went through the riots, right? And it tore up the city. We're fighting, all the drug use and the decriminalization of drugs here in our community. We've seen it kill all of our big businesses. But to me, I feel like we have a city that's on edge, a country that's on edge, right?
Right.
And now we're turning the corner on a crazy election, right? We're coming up into the election year, and we're going to see more racial division, right? And I just want to ask, like, how are you approaching this next election, knowing that this city could very well, there's no saying what could happen here.
Right.
So how are you approaching that?
Well, I'm just trying to stay positive, just stay positive, so just stay thinking right. And just stay on my plan, stay doing what I got focused on, lock in on that, and just, and just stick with that.
Yeah, I think that's all we can do, right?
That's all we can do, yeah.
Wake up every day and try to make a positive impact in our community and whatnot. And, I'll tell you, like, for me, I feel the division. Like, I can already feel it happening. We went through it, over the last few years. Dig into my relationships, because I think if we don't continue to keep our relationships alive, there's no telling what can happen in this country with everything that's coming around the corner, right?
Yeah, you're right.
One thing I wanted to chat with you about, I think back to, our time together, and then I think in 2011, 2010, I had the opportunity to move and really begin my career. And, I know you had your brother pass away in 2013, and Rick was somebody that even I looked up to right at that time. And I know he was your big brother. And I just wanted to, number one, tell you, I felt bad not to be able to be here and be a friend to you during that time period. And recently I've dealt with a lot of death, right? I've dealt with a lot of death over the last couple of years. And, I think I'm coming to grips and trying to understand the grieving process more and whatnot. I just wanted to ask you, like, what was that experience like, and how have you held your family together, and how have you continued to be there to support your little brother Sean and whatnot?
Well, with that, what makes it better, just time. Time just kind of makes it better. And then just being there for your family, checking on your loved ones. Just spending time with your family. More time with them, what I'm saying, and appreciating them and loving them. And then when somebody passed that's really close to you, you start thinking about, the important things in your life. And so you just lock in on that, and you just start going hard on the people that you really love, that's really care for you,
Well, I appreciate you sharing, and obviously I know it's a difficult topic probably to even talk about it all, but one thing I want to make sure is we have these conversations, right? I think there's many aspects to what I'm trying to do, right? I want to share my journey, my connections, in hopes of really giving back to the people that are coming up behind me, whether it be my children, my nephews, my friends, again, that next generation coming up. I don't want I don't want them to essentially go through what we went through to either find success or, if we've got best practices or, insights that can help, I want to share them. Right.
Right.
And so I think about, Rick, and if I understand it was, he'd recently quit drinking. Right. And, I think, I'm almost 6 years sober now. I haven't had a drink in almost 6 years.
Right.
And, what exactly happened?
Well, he quit. He quit drinking, and so then he got a stroke, So when you quit drinking, your body goes through all these crazy withdrawals, and you up and down. And so he had a stroke, and then so he was by himself, so he was unconscious.
Got it.
That caused him to have a brain aneurysm.
Got it.
And that's how it passed.
And the reason I'm digging in on that, Corbreeze, is because episode 2, we're going to be talking about alcoholism, right? And that's something that I've battled, and really trying to provide resources to folks that are trying to get sober, and really talk about the different paths you can take, the options that are available to you, because that's a very real thing, and it's unfortunately it's not uncommon. I've had family members we've had to take to rehab, and you make sure they're in a safe environment with a doctor. If you go through that and try to bare knuckle it on your own, you can end up in a very bad spot. So one thing that was important to me as we had this discussion and held this conversation was to take the time to tell you how proud of you that I am in seeing you as a big brother, and I think that's something that Rick would want me to share with you, is I think you've done a heck of a job with Sean and being a good example. And I mean, shit, you've been working damn near the same job for almost 15 years, right? Yeah, it's been a long time. I know you've had moments in between.
About 15 years.
But, you wake up, go to work every day, work tough shifts, take care of your business, and you have a lot to be proud of. And, I think that's something that was important to me to take the time to really share with you.
Remember when I had to help you pull out that bed out that dumpster when you were here, that pissy bed, bro?
Well, I want to go back to that house. I think it's important because that house has been a big part of the story, right? And I know you're laughing now, but those were tough times.
Yeah. Good times, though.
It was good times. I mean, I think back to Cool Breeze helping me. We pulled that California King out of the dumpster, and that was my first ride. When I first moved here, I had $67 to my name and change, right? And we pulled that mattress out. You helped me get that job at Sears,
right?
And from there,
it was over.
It was over.
From there.
It was on. I mean, I think back to Sears, man. Some of my best memories were competing from a sales standpoint.
Oh, yeah, for real.
I mean, do you remember competing with like Kevin and Chris and those guys?
Heck yeah. I remember they used to come over to our side trying to sell our stuff. And then you'd be so mad, you're ready to lose your job, trying to fight everybody.
That was, I remember Kevin came over from the appliances and sold in the electronics department. And those guys made a lot more money than us. A $10 sale back then was a big sale. And, I remember that. I remember about ready to go to the parking lot with Kevin over him selling in our department. Those were good times.
You definitely gonna fight Kevin that day.
Yeah. So to me now, I look back on those times and think about the energy that we had in that space and how we channeled it to really try to get to the next level in our careers and whatnot. And I think for me, my approach in those stores, I always said, I'm going to find somebody here and I'm going to sell to the very best of my ability. I'm going to execute on that sales process. I'm going to sell the protection plan on those TVs. And then I'm going to build a relationship, right? I'm going to ask people where they're from, what they do for work. And ultimately, I felt like that would lead to my next opportunity. I still remember, do you remember the day I met the head of Nike Basketball Asia? And that was always my goal, to get on at Nike.
Right.
And I met him. I got his business card. And then I called every single day for probably a year, leaving a message. I'll never forget the recruiter's name, Mia Foote. And I called her every day for about a year, begging for a job. They never gave me a job. But ultimately, it led to my break with Clear, right? I met Janelle in there. I sold her that protection plan. And next thing you know, I had my first direct sales opportunity, which really, led to a 15-year career that I've had nothing but, fulfillment through. So that all kind of started with you, right? Getting me that job. So thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
The Rose Garden, right? We spent a lot of time, think about the Trailblazers back then. I think about our city today versus when we were coming up out here. I mean, what's up with the Blazers, man?
Oh, man, I don't know, man.
Scoot.
We got Scoot. That's it.
That's it. And back then, I mean, it was totally different.
Yeah, we had a team back then. We were actually good. We went to the playoffs every year.
Brandon Roy.
When you selling tickets too?
I sold, I'd been selling in front of the Garden. My dad, I still remember being, 11, 12 years old selling Beat LA t-shirts, even though I was a Lakers fan,
Right.
in front of the garden. And, and then obviously when I lived up here, we were hustling at Sears, working at Finish Line.
Yeah.
I was scalping tickets in front of
tickets.
the garden. But it was just a different time period. I mean, think about the Greg Oden pick, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I still remember walking down the street and seeing those newspapers, right? #1 pick. We knew we got Greg Oden.
Right.
The city was hot.
Wait, rise with us.
Rise with us. Yes.
Rise with us. Yeah.
And you fast forward, to today, and Greg Oden goes through what he went through. Do you remember who we missed on drafting Greg Oden?
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Bleeping Durant.
He should have been a Blazer.
Right.
And we'd probably have some more banners here in the city, and that's totally different.
That's crazy. You have championships.
Multiple.
Right.
So Cool Breeze, I just want to thank you, brother, for being my very first guest.
No doubt.
To the audience today. We want to know what happened to TBs, right? If you know, drop a comment, let us know. I read an ESPN article in 2022 talking about how this was a staple in the community. This is a place that I really, I loved it. I still love it. But TB, being somebody in the community as an entrepreneur, I loved his story. He came back here, put his whole family on, his friends on. That's why he opened the barbershop. I mean, he still got the limo in the back. And to me, that's what motivated me, was getting an opportunity to, really come back and be able to provide opportunities for my family, my kids, my friends. I'm motivated by the same things he was. And, it's just disappointing. It's sad to see. But the one thing I'll tell you, Cool Breeze, is I'm back. I want to see this city get back to where it once was. And I know that I want to do my part in the community, whether big or small, to get back to where we were. Right.
Right.
And I hope you're committed with me.
Oh, yeah, I will.
All right, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah.